Baltimore 2, Texas nothing as we go to the 5th inning. And here in the ballpark, they've got a suite named after Joe Morgan. He paid a visit last night.
Luxury suite that's named after you here at the Ballpark in Arlington. It's your opportunity to buy your own luxury suite. The only Hall of Famer in baseball to actually own a suite at the ballpark.
Well, that's good. I rent one in Oakland, so maybe I need to buy my own.
Great view from the ballpark.
What if I want to bring 30 people?
You sure can. You have 30 friends.
Well, John, that was exciting for me, but we might mention I'm not the only one that has a suite here. A lot of ball players, former ball players, they have suites.
I think they have
named after
119 suites here. They're all named for Hall of Famers. And yours is still available.
Yeah.
Have you decided if you're going to buy it or not?
I don't think so, John.
She was giving you the hard sell there.
I know, but it's a long way to travel to a ball game.
That's the view there.
Beautiful
that's
view.
Pretty nice view.
Perfect
Yeah.
view.
New pitcher for the Rangers, Steve Dreyer, on for Jack Armstrong. And Jeffrey Hammonds takes a strike. Hammonds, the 9th place hitter. Dreyer got a start here Wednesday and pitched real well, although not for very long. Ooh. There's a high drive deep to left field. Gonzalez going back, still going back, and this one is caught.
Now I am convinced that the ball does not travel that well here to left field because he crushed that ball. And I thought that was going about 15 rows deep. Now watch this swing. This is, I mean, everything is there, right there. I mean, he goes down, drills it. He thinks it's gone too. Gonzalez thinks it's gone right there, but he sees the ball's dying, gets back to the wall, makes a fine play. You see him reach his right hand, and watch him put his right hand on the wall. That tells him exactly how far he has to go. Then he leaps up and makes the catch. Nice play by Gonzalez.
One down, Brady Anderson showing bunt and taking strike one. Brady has grounded a second and struck out. Well, if you pull it down the line, it's 332, and there's nothing cheap about that, but it just juts out real quickly in that corner from 332 to 354, and he hit it to the right of that, did Jeffrey Hammonds. Well, we know he certainly didn't get any help for the wind or anything else on that one.
Well, the one thing to
maybe
remember,
the wind knocked it down.
Yes, the one thing to remember is that it's not humid here in Texas yet, not hot. So maybe when it heats up a little bit, the ball will carry better.
It's been a lot like Southern California here this weekend. The pitch is low. Temperatures today around 80, but no humidity. It cools off at night. But it won't be long before it'll be about 108 every day. Still be maybe 101 at game time. 2-1 to Brady Anderson. Steve Dreyer out of Northern Iowa University. Last year with Texas, got into 10 games at the end of the year. He went 3-3. But with a 5.71 earned run average. He's 24 years of age, 6 feet 3 inches tall. And now the Orioles seeing a lot harder pitches than they saw before. Right to Palmer. That fastball was clocked at 89 miles an hour. We're going to try and check and see if there's anything wrong with Jack Armstrong.
Well, this ball is hit off the end of the bat by Brady. You see the ball's diving away from him. It reaches out and pokes it toward left field. Palmer had him played perfectly.
2 down, nobody on. Here is Devereaux. He is grounded to short, and he has hit a double to right center. 1 for 2.
And John, in talking to Johnny Oates before the ball game, he said that one of Devereaux's problems so far this year, because he was struggling, he was trying to pull everything. So the double to right center kind of plays into the extra batting practice that he took today. And maybe that helped him straighten him out.
Devereaux with 3 home runs already. Didn't hit his 3rd home run last year until June. He had a big year the year before last. 24 homers, 107 batted in. But then last year he had the slow start. Then he got a serious injury, missed 30 games, came back before he was healed, probably sooner than he should have, and played hurt the rest of the year. Still drove in 75 runs. Well, he goes to the right side again, this time for an out. He hit the ball hard against Dreyer, but got nothing out of it. The big guns coming, Gonzalez, Canseco, and Palmer. 2-0 Baltimore. I'm John Miller along with Joe Morgan. We're here in Arlington, this fabulous new ballpark. until tonight, there'd not been a home run to left field, not even a ball to the warning track. Well, we've had both tonight, and I suspect, Joe, we might have some more with Gonzalez and Canseco and Palmer coming up a few more times, including this inning.
Well, in this inning, you got Canseco, like I mentioned. These guys can hit the ball out of any ballpark. It doesn't matter.
Gonzalez first ball swinging, and Sabo tripped. Man, this is starting out to look like Sabo's worst night defensively, maybe ever.
Take a look and see if the ball bounces the other way. It's a chopper down the third baseline. Now Sabo is charging it. Now let's see, the ball hits and bounces back to his left. So it actually has to be a base hit. See, he's charging the ball. It hits the edge of the grass and bounces back to his left, so he wasn't able to make the play. So really the infield caused that problem. There wasn't a mistake by Sabo on that particular play.
Crazy. Gonzalez with his first hit, and he is now 1 for 3. Here is Jose Canseco, 0 for 2. Facing Mark Williamson now. In relief of Sid Fernandez, 2-0. The Orioles ahead. Last of the 5th. Each starting pitcher is now gone. This game immediately inherited by Williamson because Sid Fernandez did not go the required 5 innings. This is Williamson's game to win right now. Armstrong could lose it. He gave up 2 runs in his 4 innings. Runner at first, 1 ball, no strikes to Canseco. 2-0.
One thing that Willie Upshaw is trying to get Canseco, Gonzalez, and Palmer to do is be a little more patient. Saw good patience there from Canseco. He was really going to attack that pitch, and it broke out of the strike zone, so he took it.
2-0 to Canseco. He's homered in each of the first 2 games of this series. He also homered once in Baltimore last Sunday, and it was the longest home run that's been hit yet at Camden Yards. The count.
Well, the question is, do you let him swing here?
Yes.
You're right.
Base hit. Devereaux up with it. Gonzalez stops at second. I guess if you're a Ranger fan, though, you're saying now they get the hits when nobody's on base.
Well, one of the questions you ask yourself, 3-0, you should be trying to really do some damage. If the pitch is away, you should take it. That was a good swing there by Canseco. Very level. Wasn't trying to lift the ball or anything.
Now Dean Palmer. He has struck out. He has flied out to left center. 0 for 2. He's in a 2 for 22 slide right now. Ivan Rodriguez on deck. 2-0 Baltimore leading Texas. Last of the 5th. Rangers get their leadoff man aboard again in this inning. And in 4 of the 5 innings, their leadoff man has reached. But they've not got anybody home yet, leadoff man or otherwise. Strike 1 to Palmer.
You mentioned that the Texas Rangers hit 181 home runs last year, yet they were only 3rd in the league in runs scored. That tells you that a lot of times the big sluggers were striking out in these same types of situations rather than putting the ball in play. True, they were hitting home runs, but most of the time they were probably solo home runs.
1 strike to Dean Palmer. Foul. And now Williamson is into the count. 0-2 to Palmer. Palmer's only faced Williamson 3 times and has a double and a triple against him in those 3 at-bats. Rangers with another at-bat with somebody in scoring position, and there has not been a hit yet tonight by a Ranger hitter.
And that's the point that I was making. You hit a lot of home runs, but a lot of singles will help you also to get runners in scoring position.
This is the 3rd inning in the game in which they've had 2 men on and nobody out. No runs yet. High in the air. Looks like an easy play in right center. Hammonds and Devereaux. Hammonds has it. Gonzalez tags and merely bluffs. Throw into the cutoff man, Cal Ripken. 10. There's Willie Upshaw. Now, Willie may be pleased about one thing only there. At least Palmer hit it to the opposite field.
He wasn't trying to pull it. You're right.
Small victory. Now here is Ivan Rodriguez. It was almost as if in this new ballpark, Joe, the Ranger players also wanted to be showing off their muscles here and to be the first one to hit one over the left field wall or whatever, and it worked against him.
Well, a lot of people thought that this was going to be a home run hitter's ballpark, not just for right field, but the left field as well. And the right-handed hitters have found that it is not a home run hitter's ballpark, at least this early in the season.
Rodriguez, they might get two on this. McLemore, nobody's at second, and they don't get anybody. What's going on out there? The bases are loaded, and a comedy of errors for Baltimore.
That's one of those plays in no man's land where you have to talk to each other. Ripken may have been better off by saying, let it go, I have it. And watch, you'll see that Ripken can feel this ball, and he's going to be closer to the bag. Now, if McLemore lets this ball go, Ripken can catch it right there at the bag. You see he has his foot on the bag. He would have been able to tag the bag at second base and probably come up with the double play right there. But that's a lack of communication. It's not McLemore's fault that he caught the ball. Ripken has to say, let it go, I have it. So that's right there in no man's land, John.
Well, the Orioles, they've committed 2 errors. Now this. And yet the Rangers have not scored, even though the Orioles have threatened to self-destruct numerous times. 3 infield miscues now for the Orioles. Plus, their pitchers have walked 5 Rangers. So that's 8 Ranger base runners given to Texas by the Orioles free of charge without even getting a hit. The bases are loaded and a pinch hitter is coming up now. Bill Ripken is lifted, and Doug Strange, a switch hitter. He was the regular second baseman last year. Does have 2 home runs, got some power, and mostly got power as a left-handed hitter. Bases loaded, 1 out. Mark Williamson in all kinds of trouble here. He and the Orioles ahead 2-0. That's a foul. Off to the left and out of play. This is the 4th time in 5 innings that the Rangers have had the bases loaded. They have stranded 9 base runners in the first 4 innings. And I guess if you're a pessimist, you'd say, well, we've let all our great opportunities go by, and we're going to lose. Or if you're optimistic, you say, hey, man, we have been threatening all the time. It's just a matter of time before we bust loose with a torrent of runs. And I'm sure that's the way Willie Upshaw is feeling right now, the hitting coach for the Blue Jays, for the, well, he used to be with the Blue Jays, right, for the Rangers.
He's a good hitter with the Blue Jays.
Gonzalez at third, Canseco at second, Rodriguez at first. The infield double play down. 0-1 to Doug Strange. Low. The outfield straight away for Strange. Blasted one here Wednesday night against the Milwaukee Brewers. He's got good power. He beat the Orioles with a pinch hit home run last year in Baltimore against Greg Olson. Now with the Atlanta Braves. That one is into left center field. Brady Anderson. That'll get a run home. Gonzalez tags up, and the Rangers have 1. The other runners holding.
Good hitting by Strange because he made sure he got a ball that he could hit in the air. You want to stay off the ground in this situation, so he gets under it and hits it to left field. And a good play by Brady Anderson, who ran over and made the catch, but it also allowed Gonzalez to come in with the first run of the ball game for the Rangers.
And here is Manuel Lee, 2-1 for Baltimore. The Rangers get 1 home. Texas has 6 hits. They've received 5 walks. They've put 12 men on base in the first 5 innings of this game. They have 1 home. At least so far. There's strike one swinging by Lee. Lee has had a sacrifice bunt, and he has walked. He has not yet had an official at bat in this game. The base runners you saw. Canseco at second. That's Rodriguez at first. Base hit could tie this game. Canseco runs real well. Said he felt so good in spring training, he thought might shoot for a 40-40 again this year. Chase that high fastball, and it's a foul ball into the second deck.
Well, the easiest thing for Canseco to do is hit the 40 home run. The stolen bases would be a little more difficult.
Canseco has one steal so far.
Well, this team could always use some more speed, meaning Texas, because as we mentioned, they have a lot of power, but they seem to not be able to generate enough runs. Although they scored a lot of runs last year, they could score more and force other teams into making more mistakes. Although the Orioles have helped them a lot tonight.
Time taken, Lee backs away. On deck, David Hulse, the leadoff man. He would be next. 2 down. In the 5th, the run is home for the Rangers. This is the rubber match of this 3-game series. Texas goes to Toronto to face the world champion Jays next. They'd like to get a win here. They're having a tough time early. 4-1 to lead. They're 2 games below 500, 4-6. By the way, when they go to Toronto Wednesday, you'll be able to see the Rangers and the world champion Blue Jays on Wednesday night baseball, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. Let's start by the Jays. Talk about sluggers. Carlos Delgado, Joe Carter, Paul Molitor, John Olerud, Roberto Alomar. Lineup. That almost hit Manuel Lee. The former Jet. 2-2.
The fastball inside, and Lee just barely gets out of the way.
Lee, the 9th place hitter, batting with 2 on in the 5th inning. Mark Williamson, veteran right-hander, trying to get out of it here. No time taken again. Looks like Williamson and Hoyles are not of one mind about what to throw here.
Williamson probably wants to strike out. Hoyles wants to get a weak ground ball someplace.
Williamson has agreed. Fastball to McLemore. And the inning has ended. Lee hustling up the line. They got him by a step. 1 run for Texas. It's 2-1 now. The Rangers have left 11. Palmeiro, Baines, and Ripken coming up. Baseball from Texas, 2-1. The Orioles lead the Rangers here. Rafael Palmeiro will lead it off for Baltimore. The power is coming up. Palmeiro last night in the 7th inning with his team trailing 3-0 against his very good friend Kenny Rogers, got the Orioles started on a comeback. He had been hitless in this series. They hit the railing above a sign that said, "Rafael, thanks for the memories." Palmeiro, an instant hit in his new town of Baltimore. Opening day, he homered, and they brought him out for an encore. He had to tip his hat. And then in the 2nd game of the season, he led off a 6th inning rally against David Cohn with a home run that tied the ball game. And they brought him out for another curtain call. But here in Texas, initially they gave him a big welcome with a big cheer, but after the helling pitch that went behind him Friday and the resulting bad feeling between Palmeiro and the Rangers, fans have booed him ever since here in Texas. Welcome to Texas, Palmeiro. Not. Here's the pitch now from Steve Dreyer. It is ball 1. It's been an emotional weekend for Palmeiro.
Well, yes, John. I mean, the fact that he had to leave Texas was one problem, but he's building a home here. And, you know, so he loves Texas, and he wanted to spend his entire career here playing for the Rangers.
Gonzalez back into left center field. He's got it. Well, there's just so much room out there.
The ball is hit well in the gap, but again, the ball just doesn't travel well out in that area. Plus, it's 390 feet, so that's a good swing. He hits it well. Gonzalez going back. I'll tell you one thing, Gonzalez gets a good jump on the ball. saying I hit it good, and he's pointing to that gap out there and saying it doesn't go anywhere.
Harold Baines, strike one. Baines is singled and fly down.
Well, Harold finally got to swing at the first pitch. Armstrong missed badly on the first pitches to him in previous at-bats, but this one he got to a point where he could swing at it. Harold is a good first ball fastball hitter.
Baines, you make a list of all the top RBI men in the game the last 13, 14 years, and Baines' name in terms of RBIs, homers, batting average, things like that, hits, will be in the top 10 straight across. 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Baines.
And it's also kind of a pat on the back for the designated hitter rule, because Baines would not have been able to play as long as he's been able to play if he had to play a position every day to be in the lineup.
These just won't allow it. 2-2 the count. Anytime you ask Baines how his knees are, he'll just say, well, they're always bad. Look at that. An average year for him in the last 12 years, 20 homers, 88 driven in. And he's out on strikes. Dreyer got him looking. Dreyer is retired 5 in a row.
You know, you might wonder what would Tony Oliva have been able to do if he could have just DH'd for a long period of time.
Well, you've got Canseco here in Texas, who is not able to throw well enough to play in the field, and yet he's able to play every day. Well, he still rehabs the elbow to get back in shape where he can throw. Cal Ripken, too low. Ripken is 0 for 2. Canseco's pointing toward mid-summer. The Rangers are just saying, hey, this year he'll DH, but he thinks by midsummer he'll be able to throw again. Popped up. Strange, the new second baseman will let James the right fielder take it. It'll be at the top of the order for Texas. House, James, and Will Clark coming up. It's a 1-run game, Baltimore. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is brought to you by MCI Friends Around the World. And by new light ice from Miller. A taste that is more of what you want. Still light for less of what you don't. New rules. And that's in the art gallery out beyond center field here at the new ballpark. And that was a painting of Juan Gonzalez, painted by a former ball player, Gene Locklear, an outstanding artist. And I know you know Gene Locklear, Joe.
Yeah, Gene was a teammate of mine in Cincinnati, and then he played for the San Diego Padres. In fact, I have some of his work. He drew a nice painting of Pete Rose.
Here we go to the last of the 6th inning. 2-1, the Orioles out in front. David Hulse, the leadoff man, looks at a called strike from Mark Williamson. Hulse has singled on a bunt. He has struck out, and he's flied to left center. Nakamura. And there is one away in the 6th. The Rangers with 1 run and 6 hits and 11 left on base in a matter of 5 innings. The Orioles 2 runs, 5 hits, 2 errors. The Orioles have left 3 men on base. The Orioles a 2-run homer from Chris Sabo in the 4th inning. The first ball hit into the left field stands here at this ballpark in a regular season game. Here's Chris James. He takes the ball. There's some fans who were here when the Mets played an exhibition game here. I think they saw the first one hit out there when Dean Palmer hit one for the Rangers. But that's an exhibition. That's not in the books, buddy. That's just spring training still. That's what we say. It don't count.
And as Casey Stengel will say, you can look it up. It won't be there.
It won't be there. Because, I mean, who hit the first home run in the Astrodome?
Me.
Yeah, but you won't find it.
Won't find it there. You're right. If you look it up, you will not find it.
Because it didn't count. It was an exhibition.
You had to say that, didn't you?
I like to bring it up every once in a while. I keep hearing you telling people you hit the first one.
That was my claim to fame at that time.
Kind of tough to verify it, though. Somebody called you on it, right? You know, I didn't think that was right, that Joe Morgan had the first one in the Astrodome, and so I looked it up. 1 ball and 2 strikes. That's a foul and out of play. The first home run, by the way, for the record, in this ballpark will be off the bat, and we're talking about because it was in a regular season game. First home run was hit by Dave Nilsson of the Milwaukee Brewers this past Monday.
And you can look that up, and it's there. I know, because I saw it.
There you'll find it. The guy who might want to take claim to hitting the first home run here is Jerry Royce. He ripped one into the upper deck in right field in an old-timers game here that first weekend before the start of the regular season. 1-2 to James. Just a bit low. James has walked 3 times, and he's been taking pitches that close all night long. What an eye this guy has.
He has a lot of confidence in the umpire, that's all.
He's walked 8 times this year, has an on-base average of 500. And that's what they need out of a guy hitting second. Get on base in front of Clark and Gonzalez and Canseco. He must have been studying the Joe Morgan School of Hitting this winter. 3-2 the count now to James. Will Clark on deck. This is the 4th straight time that James has been at the plate with a 3-2 count. It'd be quicker if they just let him walk up there and start at 3-2.
Yeah. You're right.
Struck him out.
Good fastball up and in. Actually, that was ball 4, but James felt he had to attack it.
Will Clark coming up now. 0 for 3 tonight. Been a tough night. Back in the 2nd inning, Will Clark came up with the bases loaded and got called out on strikes. Sid Fernandez got him looking at a curveball, which the Rangers just wouldn't swing at all night long from Sid Fernandez. Ball 1 to Will, facing the right-hander now. He faced Williamson in the 4th inning with the bases loaded again, and he flied out to right center. So he's left 8 men on base in this game, Joe.
Yes.
This is not what Will was hoping for on Sunday Night Baseball with his new club. 2 on and nobody out on the 1st. He popped out. Bases loaded in the 2nd and the 4th, and he went down each time there. On the outside corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Will Clark.
And good pitches about Williamson. He is burning up the outside corner to Will Clark. And with the Rangers being down 2-1, Will's trying to get a ball that he may could take advantage of that short right field fence for.
Inside. Thought I heard the umpire say inside there.
He did. Another good pitch by Williamson. He's hit the outside corner twice, and then you come off the plate inside and try to get Will Clark to swing a bad pitch. Now what do? You go back away, right?
Or how about a pound ball?
I think he's going to go back away.
He did. And McLemore throws out Clark. So that is the easiest inning of the night. We go to the 7th inning now. Chris Hoyles will lead it off. 2-1 Baltimore over Texas. 2-1 Orioles. We go to the 7th inning. Will Clark replacing Rafael Palmeiro here at first base in Texas. When it first happened, Rafael Palmeiro blasted Clark, blasted the Rangers. We asked Clark about it.
He felt angry and frustrated, and he said some things that he probably shouldn't have said. But, you know, we've all done that. But it just happened that he picked a bad time in order to do it. And, you know, so, I mean, you know, I don't have any ill feelings for Ralph, you know, but the one thing about it is, okay, you know, you sort of made a mistake. You said some things you shouldn't have said. But now it's time to go on. Don't keep bringing them back up. Let it all go and just let bygones be bygones.
Well, Clark now in Texas, and Palmeiro now in Baltimore. Palmeiro now saying that he has put it all behind him, and he's thrilled to be in Baltimore. He thinks he's the one who got the better of the deal.
Yeah, but that was
very happy to be
professional way of looking at it from Will Clark there. We take a look at them in Mississippi State together. But Will Clark, that was very professional, I thought.
Chris Hoyles, the hitter, he has grounded out and he has singled. He's scored a run. Fouls it on play. 1 ball, 1 strike. Baltimore ahead in the 7th inning. Well, Palmeiro, even after being booed here on Friday night's ball game, made some comments about the fans booing him, which, of course, guaranteed that they'd boo him the rest of the weekend.
Exactly.
And that's too low. 2-1 to Chris Hoyles. Well, one thing is for sure, and when you talk about Clark being professional, it's over with now.
Right.
And Palmeiro's in a good situation. The crowd loves him in Baltimore. There's a shot deep into left center. Way back there is Gonzalez. Gone. Oh, no, it hit the wall. It's in play.
I thought it was out of here, too.
Man. He crushed that one near the 390 marker and up near the top of the wall for a double.
And he was standing at second base. Hoyle saying, I hit that pretty well, and it didn't get out of here. Take a look at it, a high fastball from Dreyer. And Hoyles thinks he's got it. Gonzalez knows he can't catch it. Actually hits about the middle of the wall. Wasn't even close to going out.
Didn't even hit up that high.
He's saying it's a fly ball. I don't know where he's been pitching, but he didn't think that ball was hit better than just a normal fly ball. I don't know.
So a double for Hoyles. And the Rangers now talk it over, thinking that Sabo perhaps might bunt. They talk over, I guess, Joe, how they might defend against it if he does. 2-1 Baltimore in the 7th inning here. We're into the late innings. Tight ball game. Sabo with a 2-run homer back in the 4th inning over that wall in left field.
Well, if you're Johnny Oates, you have a decision to make. Sabo's giving you the only 2 runs you have on the board. Do you let him go the other way or make him bunt? What do you do in this situation?
0-1. No indication of the bunt there. Now he looks at Narron, the third base coach.
Well, the other part of this is, do you want him to take a shot towards right field and move the runner over? Or do you want him just to go ahead and try to drive him in? With a 2-1 lead, you may let him drive him in. I assume he was going the other way with that swing.
0-2. Left-hander James Hurst is up now in the Texas bullpen, out beyond right center. There he is. Number 61. Still has a spring training number up. Two strikes to Sabo. Down and away. 1-2. Mark McLemore is on deck. Ball hit by Hoyles. I was looking up at the top of the wall to see if it was gone, and I didn't see it, so I figured it was gone. No wonder I missed it. It was like 10 feet below that. The slider misses badly. Base save by Rodriguez.
We say the ball's not carrying well, but that was still hit near the 390 mark. 390 is a pretty good poke.
Well, for instance, at Hoyles home park in Baltimore, Camden Yards, it's 364 to that same spot.
So that looks like a long blast, 34, 36 feet above it.
Tiger Stadium, Detroit 365 to that spot. The old Texas ballpark here, 380 it was to that spot. Got it to the right side, and down to third goes Hoyles. Will Clark makes the play.
And you have to give Sabo credit there. He did the job. He moved the runner over, even with 2 strikes. Now watch, with 2 strikes, he's going the other way, and he just flips it over there with his hands. Almost got a base hit, but that's good team play, and you see all the players patting him on the back saying, nice job there. Chris?
Sabo's next at bat after hitting a 2-run homer for the Orioles' only runs of the game up till now. Here's McLemore to try to bring in somebody else. Hoyles at third. McLemore 0 for 2.
Infield's in.
And the outfield is way over toward the left field line. Ball 1. McLemore is a guy who was a utility player for the Orioles. They asked him to play the outfield last spring, and he looked very good out there. He ended up being their regular, everyday right fielder all year. and drove in 72 runs, hitting second in the order. Here comes Kevin Kennedy to the mound now. He's got the left-hander out. McLemore was so solid last year, they gave him the second base job this year on an everyday basis. Kennedy out there to visit with Dreyer and Rodriguez. There's Hurst, the young lefty, in the bullpen. Join Chris Berman, Joe Theismann, Tom Jackson, Mel Kiper, and the rest as they take you through 5.5 hours of live NFL draft coverage next Sunday. We'll be reporting live from 10 locations and have war room cameras in as many as 6 teams' draft rooms, giving the inside look at all the decision making. That's next Sunday at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific on ESPN. And out there in the office building out in center field, that's Tony Casillas. Signed with the Kansas City Chiefs. Troy Aikman has a suite of offices out there for his charitable foundation. Casillas is in Aikman's balcony out there. Well, that's a swinging strike for McLemore.
John, the reason I believe Kevin Kennedy went to the mound was to alert everyone in case, you know, the Orioles try to squeeze. He'd tell them exactly what he wanted them to do if the squeeze did occur.
McLemore has been the Orioles' most reliable hitter in these spots the last 2 years. Fouled it out of play. Only hitting .243 for the year right now with only 3 RBIs.
Well, that will take the squeeze off because with 1 out, you rarely squeeze with 1 and 2 on the hitter and 1 down.
Chris Hoyles at third base. He led off the inning with a double. Steve Dreyer, the young right-hander. Going to keep him over there. Jeffrey Hammonds is on deck. Well, that outfield is really pushed toward the left field line. Caught at second by Strange. Nice play. Hoyles had to hold.
One of the risks you take when you play the infield in is that any ball will get past you because you do not have a lot of range when you're that shallow. This ball is lined. Now watch, Strange only has time 1 step and a dive, but he's able to make the catch. But again, not much range if you're playing in. Good play there by Strange. Shows the umpire he has the ball right away, so he doesn't have to throw to first base.
And now the infield can drop back to normal depth as Jeffrey Hammonds comes up. He drove 1 to the wall and left his last time that was caught by Juan Gonzalez, who leaped up to snare it. That's a foul ball, third base side. Hammonds a very fast runner. There's some scouts who believe that he may be the fastest right-handed hitter going from home to first base in the league. Two to 1, Baltimore in the 7th. And the Texas Rangers, who all night long have had fabulous opportunities, but without scoring but the 1 run. Now the Orioles in a spot where they have a good shot. The Rangers are hoping to thwart them. And that will get Hoyles home. The Rangers give it away. 3 to 1, Baltimore.
You can see how upset Rodriguez was. He chased the ball to the wall and then kicked it when he knew that he couldn't get it back in time. We'll take a look at the pitch from Dreyer. Breaking ball in the dirt. Rodriguez really no chance to block it. And watch, he chases it all the way to the wall. Now he realizes it's too late to get the runner coming in. And he decides to take it out on the wall.
So 2 down and nobody on. 3 to 1 Orioles. Into right center field. That's a base hit. James hustling over. It will roll to the wall. He falls out there. Now Hammonds turns the corner. He'll go to third easily. Triple for Jeffrey Hammonds.
And out comes Kevin Kennedy. That will be all for Dreyer.
Hammonds with his first triple of the year.
This is what you like, a right-handed hitter that takes that ball away and just rips it in the gap in the right center field. And that's what Hammonds does. There's James falling down, but it was going to be a triple anyway for Hammonds because he runs very well. I thought for one moment there they may try to send him home.
So we've got a pitching change now. James Hurst comes on to face the left-handed batting Brady Anderson. 7th inning, 3-1 Orioles over the Rangers. Runner at third. We'll be back. Jeffrey Hammonds hitting a triple here in the 7th inning with 2 down. And we got a chance to look at Jeffrey Hammonds show off his speed.
Ball's in the gap and he gets out of the box. He's 3-point something at first base. 4, 7 there. And I would say he would have been at third base in about 10.
Had he had to
right.
Go full out the whole way.
Right. Willie Davis toured the entire path once in about 12.7.
Here's Brady Anderson. Almost a wild pitch by James Hurst. A nice save by Rodriguez. The rookie Jeffrey Hammonds, by the way, with 10 hits for the year now. 7 have been for extra bases. And there's the rookie James Hurst. In 5 games, he's the Rangers' second lefty out of the bullpen. The other is the veteran Rick Honeycutt. He's been kind of wild though, Joe.
Well, I see why he didn't bring him in last night's ball game. He pitched to Harold Baines with the bases loaded last night. Instead, he chose to bring in his closer, Tom Hinkie, and Baines got a base hit because I thought he was going to bring Hurst in to pitch to Baines last night with the bases loaded and the score tied.
Ball 3. There's a right-handed hitter on deck. And you know, Brady's got those long sideburns. And here's some fans, I guess Brady Anderson fans. They got their Brady Anderson sideburns on.
Well, I hope they're fans of Brady Anderson and not just doing that. There's Brady's sideburns.
Three and 1 now.
There's some Star Trek fans here also.
We told you everybody's been wanting to come and see this new ballpark, and I guess that proves it.
Maybe he dropped out of the blimp.
I think they beamed him down. 3 and 1 now, and ball 4. So he walks the lefty, and now a right-handed hitter, Devereaux's coming up with a couple of lefties behind him. Devereaux should be able to face a lefty quite often this year in this current batting order configuration with a lefty in front of him and 2 lefties behind him. First and third, and Anderson, a threat to steal, the runner at first. And there is Palmeiro, another lefty coming out on deck, and it's ball 1 to Devereaux, who is 1 for 3, hit a double back in the 3rd inning.
Well, it was an interesting pitch sequence to Anderson. He threw him 3 straight breaking balls and then threw him a good fastball and then went back to a breaking ball for ball 4.
Left center field. Pulse on the run. Just does hold on to it. Cut it in the palm of the glove. Nice play. At the 404-foot side. Deeper there than in straightaway center field. 3-1 Orioles. Gonzalez, Canseco, and Palmer coming up. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is brought to you by Staples, the Office Superstore, and by American Honda, who has been making quality cars in America for the past 11 years. And that's the view at the ballpark in Arlington, or it was, with the Orioles leading Texas 3-1. Piloting the blockbuster video blimp tonight is Matt Backlund of Valbo, Sweden. There it is, high above the ballpark in Arlington, out here on the prairie in Arlington, Texas. And what a jewel this ballpark is. Plans for the surrounding acreage, in addition to acres and acres of parking. They're going to have a Little League ballpark built that will look much like that right field home run porch. And there'll be office buildings around the area. 2 ponds will be built and a river walk along the Johnson Creek. Here is Juan Gonzalez. Very ambitious plans for this acreage surrounding the ballpark. In Baltimore and Cleveland, they built a ballpark downtown. Here in Texas, they built a ballpark in the prairie, and they're going to build the town around it. Here is Gonzalez. Ooh, a mighty cut, and he foul-tipped it. 0-2. Williamson able to get his fastball past. Juan Gonzalez, 83 miles an hour was the fastball.
He holds his hands high, which allows you to handle the high fastball. He's having a little trouble with it tonight.
He is 1 for 3, but his one hit, an infield single in the 5th inning. He went higher still, and Gonzalez took that one. Canseco on deck. Dean Palmer up third. Rangers have not gotten the big power guys are really going yet. Canseco has started this week with 3 home runs. Gonzalez only 2. Palmer has not hit any. And the sharp curve in the dirt outside. 2-2. Mark Williamson came into the game in the 4th inning in relief of Sid Fernandez. He has worked the last 2 of the 3rd innings, allowing 1 run. Even that was kind of flukish as the Orioles had their problems in the infield. Gonzalez single in the 5th inning was a kind of a squibber, like an onside kick on the third base side that took a strange bounce away from Sable. Right back to the screen. Gonzalez not able to catch up to the Williamson fastball, which was only in the low 80s, Joe.
Well, that one had good location. It was up and in. And that's a difficult pitch to hit, especially with 2 strikes.
Three to 1 Baltimore now, last of the 7th. The Baltimore bullpen, by the way, is very busy. High in the air to center, but in comes Devereaux. Not number 1. Now Jose Canseco is coming up. 1 for 3 tonight. On Friday against Arthur Rhodes. He went the other way with this one. And with that 381 marker. And out of the ballpark. Then last night against Ben McDonald. This was a big one. It broke a 0-0 tie in the 6th inning. And onto the grass-covered area over the 400-foot marker in straightaway center. Canseco did hit that tremendous shot in Baltimore last week. Here's the pitch. Curveball is low. He's the only hitter in an actual game to have hit the second deck at Camden Yards, which he did against Arthur Rhodes last Sunday. Which would, I guess, tell you more than anything that he must be healthy. He's got that kind of power again. He was hitting him in the springtime. He hit some tremendous shots down in Florida. And yet, for all of that, the Rangers are 2 games below 500, and they are trailing tonight.
Well, sometimes it takes sluggers time to get their strokes down during the season. And maybe that's what's happening to the Rangers.
That's a base hit. He hit that one plenty hard. Second straight hit for Canseco.
Canseco really attacks the ball. This pitch is up. And, I mean, he just smokes it into left field. This pitch is up, and he just rips it. Every swing he takes could go out of the ballpark. A lot of hand action, a lot of movement. But a pretty sweet stroke right there.
In the Baltimore bullpen, the left-hander on the right-hand side of the screen, Jim Poole. The right-hander, Mark Eichhorn, was with the Blue Jays last year. So both will be ready if needed here. Dean Palmer, our right-handed hitters coming up. This Baltimore bullpen, though, has not done well. The bullpen came into a game here Friday night with the score 2-1 Texas. And by the time the game ended, Texas had 8 runs home. So it's been a struggle for the bullpen, with the exception of Lee Smith, who has been almost perfect as the Orioles' new closer. Dean Palmer is trying. Palmer has struck out, flying to left center and to right center. 0 for 3. 3-1 Orioles. Palmer the possible tying run. The outfield very deep for him. out number 2.
Sounded like he broke his bat on that. He hit it towards the end of the bat.
We're at the ballpark in Arlington. John Miller and Joe Morgan. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. The Orioles 3 and the Rangers 1 in the last of the 7th inning. Right after the ball game, stay tuned for Sports Center, the special Sunday conversation with Evander Holyfield. Also highlights from the NBA, the Knicks, Hornets, the Bulls, the Magic, and of course the complete day in baseball. Dodgers with a lopsided victory in Pittsburgh, to say the least. They beat the Pirates today 19-2. But it's still been a struggle for Tommy Lasorda's club early on. We'll see the Dodgers next Sunday versus Les Expos at Dodger Stadium. Here is Ivan Rodriguez. Been aboard 3 times tonight. Fastball to strike. By the way, Joe, in the 4th inning when they picked off Rodriguez,
right,
but Palmeiro threw wildly to second base, you said they should give him a steal.
Yes.
Now they have.
Well, good. They corrected a scoring error then.
So credit Rodriguez with a steal back in the 4th inning and take an error away from the Orioles.
From Palmeiro. Now his streak is still intact.
There goes the runner. Nice play by McLemore. Can he get it? Yes. And that's McLemore with his Taekwondo lessons under Mac Newton the last 2 winters. That's the reason he did it, to increase his agility. Beautifully done. We go to the 8th inning now. Palmeiro, Baines, and Ripken. McLemore robbing Ivan Rodriguez of a base hit with a spectacular acrobatic play in the last of the 7th inning.
Well, 2 things happen here. He gets a great jump on the ball, and he was not covering. You see the runner going. They had the shortstop covering, but the toughest part was he caught the ball behind him. You can see on this replay, the ball will actually be past him when he catches it. He doesn't catch it in front. See, that ball is past him. It's on the outfield grass when he catches it. And his quickness allows him to get up and throw the runner out. Good play there by Mark McLemore. But the Orioles also guessed correctly.
They had Ripken, the shortstop, over to cover. Here's Palmeiro. Whacks it into right field for a base hit. That's his 2nd hit of the game. He's hit the ball hard 4 times tonight. 2 singles, 1 liner to left center, and 1 drive deep to left center.
Well, this is a much better swing than the one he got the first hit on, but just down and in, and he turns on it, he kind of throws the bat at the ball. That's one of the things I like about Palmeiro's swing. He throws the head of the bat at the ball. Not so much a swing.
Harold Baines up now. First ball swinging.
Let's take a look at Palmeiro's swing. You'll see what I mean. Now watch, he kind of throws the bat at the ball. It's not really a big turn. Now watch, he just throws the head. See, he throws it with his hands. You use quick hands on the ball inside, and he rips it to right field for a base hit.
Harold Baines 1 for 3 in the game. Ball 1. Now both bullpens are busy. After Baines, the Orioles have a long string of right-handed hitters coming up. And so the Rangers have a right-hander up in their bullpen. And there he is, Chris Carpenter, former Marlin, former Cardinal. Strike 2 to Baines. 1-2 now. In the Baltimore bullpen, Jim Poole, a left-hander, is up. Rangers leadoff man is a lefty, Hulse. He's due up 3rd in the last half of this inning. Of course, Will Clark also. He would be due up 5th. Reached for by Baines, and he got a piece of it. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 3-1. The Orioles ahead of the 8th inning here in Texas. Some of the crowd here has departed the ballpark in Arlington. Notice that, Joe, the last 3 nights here. It's been an early leaving crowd. Infield hit for Harold Baines.
Well, we're seeing a lot of miscommunication between the infielders in this ball game. First Baltimore and now the Texas Rangers. This ground ball to the left side looks like it should be taken there by Palmer, but obviously Manny Lee called him off. Now he's off balance, and he can't get anything on the throw, and tie goes to the runner. I believe that Palmer could have taken the ball and gone to second base for the force out.
Well, Harold Baines is retired for the night. He has been lifted. Lonnie Smith will go in to run for him at first base. There he is with Davy Lopes. A couple of veterans. Lonnie Smith played against Davy Lopes. That's how long he's been around. You mentioned a lot of managers maybe in peril.
Right.
Davy Lopes is a guy who...
Yes, I think he'd make a good man.
Yeah. Chris Carpenter is summoned into the game with Cal Ripken coming up. 2 on, nobody out. 3-1 Orioles. John Miller, Joe Morgan back in Arlington. You see that right field home run porch. Nobody's reached it tonight. Here's Chris Carpenter. He is the 4th Rangers pitcher of the game. He inherits 2 base runners with nobody out. Rafael Palmeiro, the runner at second. Lonnie Smith, the runner at first. And Cal Ripken is at the plate. Ripken is 0 for 3 for the runners. Orioles ahead by 2.
Carpenter throws a sinker slider. The sinker is what he wants Ripken to hit.
Pops the bunt up. And unplayable. Rodriguez hustling after making a dive for it.
Yes, how often have you seen Cal Ripken bunt with a runner in scoring position? There's Carpenter's pitch. He's trying to throw a sinker, and Ripken's trying to bunt it. Pops it up. Good hustle by Rodriguez, but he's not able to get there.
I remember the old baseball man, Connie Ryan, used to be a coach here in Texas. Played for a number of years. Talked about a play called the double dip. The guy bunts, but he's supposed to try and beat it out. At worst, get the runners up, but try and beat it out. Throw to second, back to the bag is Palmeiro. I'm wondering if Cal was asked to bunt, or maybe he thought of that up on his own. What do you think?
I think he was squaring around to bunt. It didn't look like he was he was trying to beat it out. It looked like more of a sacrifice.
Ball, 1 strike. If he was trying to bunt for a hit, he would have disguised it.
Right.
Chris Hoyle's on deck. That's a foul out of play. Now it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Palmeiro led off the inning with a single to right. He's at second. And Lonnie Smith, the runner for Baines, who got an infield hit. Harold Baines last night got his first triple in 3 years. Now tonight he gets an infield hit. Might have been 3 years since he last had one of those. Baines got his speed game going. He retires, going 2 for 4 tonight, sitting next to Leo Gomez in the Orioles dugout there. Two and 2 to Ripken. This is an odd 3-1 game. It's one of those games that could have been 9-8 by now. Or I'm sure if you're sitting on Texas's side saying it might be 9-3 Texas. The Rangers with 4 bases loaded situations tonight, and they got 1 run out of all of them. They have left 12 men on base. 3 and 2 to Ripken.
One thing you did not want to do if you were Carpenter is to go to a 3-2 count, because now that allows the Orioles to put the runners in motion, because Ripken is a pretty good hitter. You put the runners in motion, and that keeps them out of the double play.
You got speed out there. Palmeiro, 22 steals last year. Smith still runs fairly well. There they go. Base hit, right field. Palmeiro being waved home. He'll score. Into third is Lonnie Smith. Throw finally corralled by Manuel Lee, and Cal Ripken has delivered the Orioles' 4th run.
And see, that's what happens when you go to a 3-2 count. You give the hitter the idea that you're going to throw a fastball. Gives him the opportunity to hit a hole because the runners are moving. Fastball away, Cal goes the other way and lines it in the right field for a base hit. Good hitting by Cal Ripken. Good base running by Lonnie Smith. He goes around to third. The Orioles now have a 4-1 lead.
And they're threatening now to really bust it open here in the 8th inning. Still nobody out. And Hoyles, who's had an early season slump, has swung the bat well tonight. A single and a double. Or as I like to think of it, a single and a home run. He is 2 for 3. Chris Hoyles last year with 29 homers and a .310 average He became one of only 5 catchers in American League history to hit 300 with 25 or more homers. The others to have done it, Bill Dickey, Yogi Berra, Carlton Fisk. Popped him up. Foul. Rodriguez coming back. But this is in amongst the spectators. Ball 1 strike. The amazing thing was he wasn't the only catcher to have done it last year. Mike Stanley did it for the Yankees. And also in the National League it was done. Mike Piazza did it. He really did it.
Yeah, he... But Piazza, like Hoyles, off to a rather slow start so far this season. Had a great spring.
The American League record for home runs by a catcher as a catcher in a year is 33. Strike. Called at the knees. 1-2 the count. Hoyles hit 29 as a catcher last year, 4 below the record. Sports Center right after the ball game. Stay tuned. Keith Olbermann and Dan Patrick will be there. Runners at first and third, nobody out. And that's a foul out of play off to the right. There's Lonnie Smith, the pinch runner. He's at third base. And Cal Ripken, after his 6th RBI of the year, he's at first alongside Will Clark. There's a couple of Warriors talking it over. Only one catcher in Orioles history ever hit more home runs in a year than did Chris Hoyles last year. That was Gus Triandos. One of the first big stars of the Orioles back in the mid-50s.
And he was big physically, too.
Great big guy. 2-2. Triandos is so well-loved, or was at that time in Baltimore. They named a street after him in a Baltimore suburb. Triandos Way. Of course, they didn't name a luxury suite after him here at the ballpark in Arlington, although they did name one after Joe Morgan. That's low. And it's a full count. 3-2 to Hoyles.
And he also, now he does the same thing. He puts the Orioles in a situation where they can send Ripken from first base, open up a hole someplace, and also stay out of the double play. You cannot continue to take counts to 3-2 with runners on base.
Here's Sabo on deck. Already a big hole on the right side of the infield with Clark on the bag over there. Cal not running. That's a foul out of play. Jack Armstrong started, went only 4 innings. We never were quite sure why he left, and now we've gotten a report from the Rangers clubhouse that he had stiffness in his right shoulder. So we were wondering if maybe he was not quite right. He left after 4. Then Dreyer came in. He went 2 2/3, gave up 1 run. Then Hurst, and now Carpenter. And there is further activity in the Rangers bullpen even as we speak. There's Matt Whiteside, a right-hander up out there. The Rangers used 7 pitchers in the game here last night. A 9-inning game. Foul ball. So Hoyles battling it out with Carpenter. You don't often see 7 pitchers in a 9-inning game.
No.
And you usually probably wouldn't want to. And it was all for naught. The Rangers had a 3-0 lead after 6, and all of those relievers couldn't hold it. The Orioles got 2 in the 7th and 4 in the 8th last night and won the ball game 6-4. 3-2 to Hoyles. Did it strike you as odd that Ripken hasn't been running in these 3-2 pitches?
Well, there's no one out, so they don't want to hit into a double play or line into a double play. But you do open up some holes if you send the runner.
Another foul ball by Hoyles. Johnny Oates with a signal out to his third base coach, Jerry Narron. Greg Biagini, the hitting instructor, in the foreground there. And there's Narron. Old catcher, the left-handed hitter.
He actually walks pretty good for a catcher. Usually their knees are hurting.
Well, he was a backup catcher.
Oh, okay, that's better.
Mostly warmed-up pitchers. And it's a walk. Well, Hoyles earned that one. Now The bases are loaded for Chris Sabo, the first man to have hit a home run in a regular season game here. He in left field, and he did it back in the 4th inning. Just made it. Now the stands are set back a few feet from that wall out there because they got the area in there where the guys who keep the out-of-town scores maneuver. Here is Sabo. Saw his grand slams. He's hit some in the past. Try for one right there, looks like. Now he's faced Carpenter before. They're both former National Leaguers.
Well, Sabo is a good fastball hitter, and he was sitting on a fastball. Carpenter threw it, but he swung through it. It was a little bit up out of the strike zone.
Sabo is 1 for 3 tonight. Bases loaded, nobody out. 4-1 Orioles. And that's a pop foul. It'll go out of play. Blue Jays won today, 5-4 over California. See how the Toronto lost the ball game Friday night in Anaheim
from 13-6.
Yeah. In the 9th inning, 13-6.
Yes.
You think they missed Dwayne Ward?
No doubt about it.
They had just scored 5 in the 8th to themselves. Come from behind. They were down 6-3, and then they got 5 more in the 9th, and then they blew it. That's foul. 0-2 to Sabo. 3 men on. Lonnie Smith at third base. Brady. Let's see. Where are we? Oh, this is the 8th inning. Cal Ripken at second. Chris Hoyles at first. I was time tripping there for a minute, Joe. I thought we were back in the 7th inning for just a second. Chris Sabo. Now, you can't mistake him with those goggles. Pop up. Doug Strange going out. Remember, didn't call an infield fly. Lonnie Smith is tagged up. Here he comes. And the throw is way offline. And Lonnie Smith has scored. And Chris Sabo gets a sacrifice fly to the second baseman.
Well, the problem with that is Chris James has a strong arm in right field. I don't know why he let Doug Strange make an over-the-shoulder catch. Now watch, he's off balance. Now Chris James is coming in, and he should take this ball. Now watch, he has time to take it right there, and he's facing home plate. Strange catches it moving away. No chance to get Lonnie Smith. Good base running by Lonnie.
I mean, if James catches that, I bet Lonnie doesn't even try to score.
Because James has a good arm, and he's also facing the plate coming forward.
So we've seen some poor play tonight, some poor decisions, and just some poor thought processes there by Chris James. Sacrifice fly for Sabo to the second baseman. Here's McLemore. Now they're appealing at third, saying that they thought Lonnie left too soon, but the third base umpire, John Shulak disagrees.
And his opinion is the only one that counts right now, so run scores.
It is 5-1. 2 runs in for the Orioles, both charged to the young left-hander, James Hurst. Here's McLemore. He's 0 for 3. That's a foul off the left field line. 1 strike to McLemore. Rangers will be heading to Toronto, to the Sky Dome. The Blue Jays glad to be off the West Coast. They've had some long losing streaks there the last 2 years. The Blue Jays will meet the Rangers Wednesday right here on ESPN Wednesday Night Baseball. The rookie Rick Helling got his first Major League win against the Orioles here Friday. Dave Stewart, the veteran, will go for Toronto. Should be a lot of action in that one. Strike 2 for McLemore. Blue Jays have scored nearly 8 runs per game so far this year. This is Carlos Delgado. He leads the league in homers with 7. He and Joe Carter both with 15 RBIs. Alomar, Olerud, Devon White, all off the gas from the starts. Paul Molitor. I saw this winter where Ted Williams said that of all the hitters in the last 30 years, Paul Molitor most reminds him of Joe DiMaggio.
Yeah, I saw that. And I guess, how can you argue with Ted Williams?
Yeah.
About hitting, anyway.
Ted Williams speaks, people listen. Chris Chris Carpenter trying to get out of this inning. Only 1 out, 2 runs in, 2 men out. Strike 3 call.
I don't know what McLemore was looking for on this pitch. I mean, this pitch gets a lot of the plate, and it's strike 3 called. Now watch, this pitch gets a lot of the plate. Looks like it's in the middle of the plate. But it obviously fooled McLemore. Or he was looking for a breaking ball. He was looking for something other than what he got.
Well, that's the danger if you're looking for a breaking ball against a guy that throws pretty hard.
Yeah.
I remember Al Oliver. And Al Oliver was a great hitter.
Right.
I mean, he hit line drives every day. Never see anybody hit the ball harder every day than Al Oliver. Jeffrey Hammond's the hitter, ball 1. He always said that he always looked for fastball.
Right.
And just adjusted off that.
Well, that's the theory of hitting. That's what good hitters do. You look for the fastball and adjust to the breaking ball, or adjust to the speed of the pitch. I'm sure if you talk to Frank Robinson, he would tell you the same thing. On occasion, he may sit on one pitch, but normally you look for the fastball, especially with 2 strikes.
Frank, he impressed you pretty much as a hitter?
Frank Robinson, yes. I watched Frank quite a bit. First in the National League, and then when he went to the American League, I didn't play against him a lot in the National League, but I watched him. And, you know, his theory is something that I agree with. He always tried to hit the ball back through the middle and then adjust it from there. If it was breaking ball, he might pull it, pitch away, it may go the other way, but he tried to hit everything right back at the pitcher.
Jeffrey Hammond, count 1 and 2 to him. He tripled his last time. He's 1 for 3. 2 down, 2 out of the 8th, 2 in. The Orioles ahead, 5-1. Frank Robinson, 586 home runs. Perhaps certainly among the most lopsided trades in history.
Yes. Milt Pappas.
To the Orioles, Milt Pappas was a pretty good pitcher.
Yes, he was a good pitcher. But the thing about Frank, they said he was an old 30 at that time, if I remember the quote correctly. You know, there's a little parallel between Frank and Will Clark coming here to Texas, right? The Giants kind of thought Will Clark was an old 30. That's a base hit. The Orioles will get another run home. Here comes Cal Ripken in. It is 6-1 with Hoyle stopping at second. And the Orioles have opened it up considerably here in the 8th inning. Three runs in. It's a fastball in, and he drills it right back through the middle. Lee can't get to it. Here comes Ripken around to score. And the Orioles lead 6-1.
And another pitching change coming. Kennedy's just going to keep bringing them in until somebody gets somebody out here. Brady Anderson will be coming up against Whiteside. It's the Orioles 6 and the Rangers 1. Sunday Night Baseball from the ballpark in Arlington. I'm John Miller along with Joe Morgan. Joe, your first trip to this new ballpark. What are your thoughts about it?
It's bigger than any ballpark I've ever seen. You know, it's just really colossal out there just to look out and see how high it is. But I guess the other part of it is I do not like the way the ball carries to left field. I like to see the ball go out if the hitter hits it well.
Well, it'll be interesting to see, as you mentioned earlier, when the summer heat comes in here in Texas, if it continues to play that way. And they did a lot of wind tunnel studies here for the model of the ballpark. And what they were trying to do was make a ballpark that was neutral, that would just be fair all the way around. There wouldn't be any short home runs or cheapies, really, but also not any areas that were too deep. But from what we've seen tonight, left field looks like it might be too deep.
It is too deep. Maybe they're going to have to put an inner wall there to make it fair.
Here is Brady Anderson. It's the 8th Oriole hitter of the inning, Matt Whiteside. The 5th Rangers pitcher of the game comes out. 2 on, 2 out. 3 in. The Orioles ahead 6-1. Anderson 0 for 3 with a walk. Ball 1. Anderson has not had a weekend to remember here. 2 for 12. Including 3 consecutive strikeouts in the game last night. And that's a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. There is Chris Hoyles at second base. And Jeffrey Hammond's at first base. He just singled home a run. 6-1. The Orioles miles ahead. Now, we've seen a lot of pitches tonight from a lot of pitchers. Nearly 300 pitches thrown in this game.
Well, we've seen a lot of baseballs thrown around here in a lot of different ways.
That may be a record for 8 innings. Will Clark. And Anderson is gone. So are the Orioles. But it is now 6-1 Orioles. The Rangers running out of time in this one. Sunday night baseball from Texas, and the Orioles are leading the Rangers 6-1 in this beautiful new ballpark. And Joe, this is just outside the ballpark. It's a freeze in various scenes.
John, you were mentioning the fact that, you know, in Texas everything is bigger. Well, look at this. Look at the size of Texas on the world. They're pretty big.
So
kind of typical, right?
If you're in outer space with that astronaut on a spacewalk, that's the way they feel here in Texas. The state of Texas would look
exactly.
in relation to the rest of the earth. Well, that's the way this ballpark looks, and it is a beauty. That right field home run porch, and then the rest of it. Magnificent structure. People ask about how you would compare it to, say, Camden Yards. I haven't been to Jacobs Field in Cleveland just yet.
Right.
But I don't really feel that you can make a comparison between this and Camden Yards. They're two different ideas entirely.
Yes. And they were designed by different people, so obviously the ideas are different.
George W. Bush, the Rangers general partners. Jim Poole, by the way, is on to pitch for the Orioles now. Left-hander who had been with Texas. And he relieves Mark Williamson, whose game it is to win, and he was excellent in relief of Sid Fernandez. Doug Strange lifts it foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. Strange came on as a pinch hitter in the 5th inning with the bases loaded. He's the only Ranger in a bases loaded situation tonight to have delivered a run. He did it with a sacrifice fly. 4 different innings, so the Rangers get the bases loaded. That's a strike in the outside from Poole. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Mark Williamson, Kevin Kennedy doesn't like what he's saying. This has been a nightmare for him. What about all of those sluggers? Nobody slugged tonight. Well, they had RBIs sitting out there all night long, it seemed like.
For all the change that they thought was going to occur, you know, the Rangers are really kind of similar to the Rangers of last year and the year before. When the big sluggers hit, they win ball games. When they do not, they lose. They do not score runs in a lot of different ways, other than hitting the ball out of the ballpark.
Devereaux in center. That's 1 away. Strange is retired. Jose Canseco with a couple of singles tonight. The Rangers have not hit one out of the ballpark. One of those nights. 6-1. Juan Gonzalez.
I think the Texas Rangers are like a basketball team. You know, a dunk gets them all excited and gets them started. The home run, I believe, gets the Texas Rangers excited, and they seem to play better in games that they hit home runs in.
A strike to Manuel Lee, who is 0 for 1. A sacrifice and a walk. 6-1, the Orioles in the last of the 8th inning. Each of these ball clubs is expected to win this year. The Rangers have moved to the Western Division now. The other teams in their division, and there are only 3 other teams, Oakland, California, and Seattle. The Rangers would have won that division had they realigned last year, even though they were just a little bit over 500. And nobody in that division is going real well right now. But I wonder if Oakland, I mean, they got Ricky Henderson back. They've got Mark McGwire healthy. And Bob Welch is much healthier than he was at any time last year. You just wonder if Oakland, I mean, so far Oakland is hitting the ball unbelievably well. That's a base hit for Lee. One out and 1 on. The Rangers get a man aboard. And we'll go to the top of the order now. That's the view here at the ballpark in Arlington from the Blockbuster Video Blimp. It's one of the few internally lit airships currently in use around the world. The Blockbuster Video Blimp is based in Orlando, Florida. It's almost like having Wayne Huizenga as a part of Sunday Night Baseball, whenever the blockbuster video blimp is here. Here's David Hulse. And that's a ball. 6-1 Orioles, last of the 8th. Hulse has had a bunt single, struck out, flied out, and grounded out. Jim Poole. Ordinarily, when Poole comes into a game, it's just to face 1 or 2 left-handed hitters. He's got a very good slider. Fastball, base hit. Brady Anderson falls over. And he allows, with that ill-thought throw, Hulse to get to second. And it's almost like half the guys out here seem to be sleeping tonight, Joe.
Well, they're definitely making mental mistakes. After he fell down, Brady should have gotten up, thrown the ball to second base just to keep the double play in order. First of all, you don't have a shot at the runner going to third base. It's a shot to left field by Hulse. Now watch. Now Brady falls down. Now when he gets up, he should be thinking only about holding the runner from the batter's box and keeping him at first base. Instead, he throws to third. Sabo tries to run up and grab it, but no chance to get Hulse at second base.
And this Ranger club is a big inning team. And when you're up by 5 runs, everything is to guard against the big inning happening.
Exactly.
Don't walk anybody, and don't give away anything. Now, he gave away a chance to get a ground ball double play here with Chris James at the plate. Bullpen activity, Alan Mills, hard-throwing right-hander, starts to warm up. James with 3 walks and a strikeout tonight. He's not even hit the ball. He's been on base 3 times. Second and third, 1 out. Slider is low. Now, we've seen the Ranger bullpen in their worst form tonight. The Rangers in 6 1/3 innings from the bullpen. Last night and tonight have given up 8 runs and 10 hits. That's pretty bad. And the Orioles have been nearly as bad. That's a strike. 1-2. Jim Poole comes in with a 7.71 ERA. One of the relievers for the Orioles, Brad Pennington, a big left-hander, 10.13. Alan Mills, 11.25. Mark Eichhorn, 9.0. Only Lee Smith really has been stronger tonight. Mark Williamson pitched well. That is a foul. Now, if James gets aboard, you got Will Clark on deck, and then the real big sluggers after him. Sports Center right after the ball game. Stay tuned. Keith Olbermann, Dan Patrick, with all of the highlights, some witty repartee between the two, all well written and well thought out, and presented in an award-winning fashion. Sports Center right after the ball game. That one is hit high and deep into center, but not deep enough. Devereaux. He's got it, tagging both runners. Heading for the plate is Lee. He scores. To third is Hulse. Sacrifice fly for James, and it is 6-2 for the Orioles. Will Clark is coming up now. Now, if Clark gets aboard here, Juan Gonzalez would come up in this inning with a chance to make it a 1-run game.
Yeah, it changes everything in the fact that they get Will Clark to the plate here in the 8th inning with a runner on third base.
And Will is hurting for a hit tonight, too. He is 0 for 4. Popped him up on a slider. Ripken out. Anderson in. Ripken. And the inning is over, and Will Clark is 0 for 5. The Rangers get 1 on the sacrifice fly. We go to the 9th inning now. Devereaux, Palmero, and Lonnie Smith to do up. 6-2 Orioles. Here we go to the 9th inning. 6-2. The Orioles lead the Rangers here from Texas on Sunday Night Baseball. Don't forget now, next Sunday, the NFL Draft from 3:30 Eastern, 5.5 hours. They'll have it all for you next Sunday before Sunday Night Baseball. We'll follow that with a 9 p.m. start from Dodger Stadium. Mike Devereaux looks at a called strike from Matt Whiteside, the 5th Rangers pitcher of the game. In the dirt. You know, Joe, we're talking about the bullpens and the problems both of these clubs have had so far early on. And at this point, I mean, the Rangers have some veterans. They picked up Rick Honeycutt,
right,
and Jay Howell. They've got Tom Henke out there, the closer. They've got some guys with track records, but Howell in particular has been very ineffective. His ERA is 11.57. Honeycutt is 12.0. Matt Whiteside is in there now, 9.82. That's a look at
Henke.
Some of the Tom Henke left in the bullpen out there. I think he'll get in tonight. 6-2 Orioles in the ninth inning. But I mean, if you're talking about trying to trade for some bullpen help, where do you find it? There's a lot of teams in that situation. Manuel Lee retires Devereaux. Devereaux 1 for 5 for the game.
That's exactly right, John. If you look around baseball, you see a lot of teams saying they need middle to short relief. And just about every team's looking for the same thing. So it's almost impossible to make deals when everyone needs the same thing.
Here's Rafael Palmeiro, 2 for 4. Just talking to Tom Grieve, the Rangers general manager, before the game. And there's a lot of hitting in baseball right now. There seems to be a pitching shortage around baseball. And yet teams go with 5-man starting rotations. You go back a few years, 20, 25 years, most teams used a 4-man rotation. There's Tom Grieve, by the way. And the starting pitchers not only went every 4th day, but they went longer.
Yes.
Now, you work every 5th day, and if you go maybe 6, that's pretty good days. Palmeiro takes in the dirt. And so there seems to be a shortage of pitching, and yet the style of play has turned now so that bullpens are an integral part of everybody's pitching staff. Not just a closer, but to have 3 or 4 men in there who can take you from the 5th to 6th inning onto a victory.
Well, it's become more and more dependent on the bullpens because the starters only go 5 or 6 innings.
Out of play.
What's the term they use now? A quality start if you go 6 innings, you know? And so you have to look at that first and foremost, saying, why is that a quality start?
Well, I remember when Tony La Russa went to Oakland. He'd been fired with the White Sox, went to Oakland. Oakland had a real shortage of pitching. They picked up Gene Nelson, they picked up Dennis Eckersley, and he put them both in the bullpen. Even though he didn't have many starting pitchers of quality at that time. And of course, neither one of them wanted to go to the bullpen particularly, especially Eckersley. That's a foul. But La Russa's theory at that time was, we have a pitching shortage, so let's build a strong bullpen. Maybe that will help mask some of the problems with the starting pitching. Now, if we only get 5 innings or so out of a guy, maybe we can still win a game with a strong bullpen.
Well, I think that's what he was trying to do. He shortened the game, really, to a 5 or 6 inning ball game, because if he could have the lead going into the 6th inning and then definitely the 7th, he felt like his bullpen could hold and win the game. So you give the other team 5 or 6 innings at the most to score runs.
Palmeiro, a high fly ball to right. James, number 2, Palmeiro, 2 for 5 tonight. With a run scored and 2 hard fly ball outs. Will Clark, on the other hand, a terrible night. 0 for 5. He left 9 men on base, and he ended 4 different innings. But both of them off to very fine starts in this 94 year. Now here is Lonnie Smith. Lonnie has mostly been sitting and watching this year. This is his first at bat. This is his first game. Slider misses. So what do you do about it? I mean, you can't just all of a sudden say to your starting pitchers, okay, now you're all working with 3 days rest. Can you?
No, I don't think you can do it all of a sudden. I think you have to prepare them in spring training to do that. Also, I think one of the reasons Warren Spahn, who was one of the greatest pitchers ever, always talks to me about the fact that the pitchers didn't throw in between innings. And you to think back to the early years, Koufax, Drysdale, Gibson, Marichal, all the great pitchers pitched, you know, close to 300 innings on 4-day rotation. So I don't know exactly why it has changed, and especially when you have a shortage of pitchers.
somewhere in there, it did change.
Yes.
If you had a great starting pitcher, or 2 or 3, you've got him out there as often as possible.
Was that Spawn and Sane and Pray for Rain?
Pray for rain. Or Spot Insane and 2 days of rain.
Yeah.
Strike 3. The inning is over. Juan Gonzalez, Jose Canseco, and Dean Palmer, they'll all take one more shot at it. 6-2, the Orioles over the Rangers. John Miller and Joe Morgan back at the ballpark in Arlington. We're still here, but almost nobody else. Everybody's left. They've had it with their Rangers on this night. Juan Gonzalez coming up. Take one more shot at it here tonight. Only 24 years of age. Already got a lot of home runs to his credit.
Yeah, and you take a look at that list, most, home runs before age 24. Look at Mel Ott, 153. Ken Griffey Jr. in 3rd place, 132. Frank Robinson, I guess one thing, Mickey Mantle, but of course the guy that's missing that leads them all in total career home runs, Hank Aaron, did not have that many early in his career. He just got better as he went along.
I mean, what Aaron did and what Gonzalez will have to do if he's even to get 500, 600, really.
Right.
He's going to have maybe he's had 2 consecutive 40 home run years.
Yeah.
And he's going to have to get up 35 to 40 home runs and do that
every year.
Every year.
Yeah.
And have a long career.
Well, to show you what Hank Aaron did, put it in perspective, to get 700 home runs, you have to have 35 a year for 20 years. Average that. So that's a lot of home runs.
Here's Alan Mills now. Now, Mills has given up a lot of runs, given up 2 home runs in only 4 innings. And the irony is that actually he's pitched fairly well for the Orioles.
Well, he struck out 9 in 4 innings, if I remember correctly.
Chris Hoyles says that this spring Mills threw better than he's ever seen him. Juan Gonzalez, fastball misses. And Mills throws very hard. And will also throw a slider. He came into a game last weekend in Baltimore. The Rangers were 1 run down with runners at 2nd and 3rd. And he struck out these 3 hitters consecutively. Gonzalez, Canseco, and Palmer. He punched them all out.
That might explain why he's in there right now, huh? See if he can do it again.
Yeah. Alan Mills. He worked briefly in the ball game last night. Came in, got out of trouble, striking out Dean Palmer with runners at 2nd and 3rd. Right back to the screen. He wears number 75 because he says he wants to remain hungry. He wants to remember what it was like to be a rookie who probably wouldn't make the club in spring training, to remind himself not to take it for granted, to go out there and earn it every year and every game.
Well, that's a good attitude. As he throws, I think one of these days he may be a closer.
He closed for a little while last year when Greg Olson had been the Orioles closer. Came down with an injury and wasn't available for the last 6 weeks or so. Alan Mills. No matter where Mills is and no matter what the weather is, if it's a Sunday, you'll see him in a suit and a tie. I saw him in spring training on a hot, humid day at the ballpark in St. Pete in a suit and tie. He says, well, it's Sunday. That one is hit deep to left. Way back. Out of here. Gonzalez with a shot into the seats and left. His 3rd home run of the year.
When Gonzalez hits them, though, John, it doesn't matter if the ball doesn't carry well. We showed Gonzalez's swing compared to Hank Aaron's in the early innings of this ball game. Let's take another look at this and see where he goes as far as compared to the swing we illustrated in the 2nd inning. Well, a little different. Pretty good balance there. Good extension. Bats out in front. And very strong upper body. And look at that. I mean, when he hits it, he knows it's out of here. And that's a line drive. See, he knows it's a home run right now.
That looked a lot more like the Aaron shot we had.
Yes.
Where his upper body was also straight up and down. Here's Canseco. 6-3 now. And it's a strike. And there's bullpen activity for the Orioles. Lee Smith gets out. Juan Gonzalez, his 3rd home run of the year. And and it was a shot. And that's his first to left field in this ballpark. So we've seen 2 over that wall tonight. We've seen the wall dented by Chris Hoyles. We saw Gonzalez make a leaping catch at that wall tonight. Jose Canseco hit one last week in Baltimore against Arthur Rhodes. This hits the second deck. Look out in that camera bay position. It's the longest home run, 465 feet, they said, in that ballpark. There's a drive deep to center. Devereaux going back. Still going back. This one is gone. Back-to-back home runs. Gonzalez and Canseco. It's 6-4.
Well, the few fans that remain have been treated to this back-to-back home run. Runs hit by Canseco and also Gonzalez, of course. There's a low pitch down and away. He drives it straight away center field. Line drive up on the grass there in center field. And there's the look of Arthur Rhodes.
Well, Jose Canseco has now homered 4 times against the Orioles in his last 4 games against them, beginning with that one we showed you last Sunday in Baltimore. Canseco's 4th homer of the season, his 8th run batted in. Dick Bosman out to speak to Mills. They've got Lee Smith heating up in the bullpen. Canseco with his 3rd home run of the weekend. This was Friday against Arthur Rhodes. That was to right center. Then last night against Ben McDonald over the center field wall. And now tonight he goes deep against Alan Mills. And he made it over that center field wall again. Now here is Dean Palmer. Now Palmer has not hit a home run yet this year. 2 of these big right-handed guns have gone deep consecutively. Can Palmer do it? Whatever Mills is throwing up there is looking pretty fat to these guys.
Well, Mills is a fastball pitcher, and you lose a foot on your fastball against some of these hitters, and they can catch up with it. They could not catch up with it in Baltimore last week. They couldn't catch up with it last night. But maybe it's just a foot short tonight.
Could be. He has now given up 4 home runs in 4 innings of pitching this year. That's pretty bad. Base hit. Well, we've seen the Ranger bullpen at its worst tonight. And now you're getting a look at the Orioles bullpen getting beaten up.
Well, I think Lee Smith is going to have to make his way into this ball game. Look, when the score was 6-2, that Johnny Oates was not going to have to use him. Now Johnny's going to have to bring in the big fella.
And I don't think he wants to, because Lee Smith threw 30 pitches here last night. He labored in the 9th inning to get a save. He's not as young as he used to be, Joe.
He can't go out there every day as he could earlier in his career.
Now, if he used him tonight, I think you wanted maybe to get 1 out from him or something.
Right.
But there's nobody out. He's got to get 3 outs. And the Texas Rangers have come storming back here in the 9th inning with a display of power in the 9th inning. Gonzalez and Canseco homers. Palmer a single. Rodriguez is coming up. Lee Smith coming in. Six to 4 Orioles, 9th inning. It's not over yet here in Texas. Next week, 9 o'clock, remember, 9 o'clock next week only. The Montreal Expos and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Larry Walker and that excellent outfield. Marquise Grissom and Moise Alou. And the Dodgers with Mike Piazza and the former Expo Delino DeShields facing the Expos for the first time next weekend at Dodger Stadium. And we'll have the series finale next Sunday night, 9 p.m., 6 Pacific. Now stay tuned for SportsCenter right after this ball game. Evander Holyfield will have a conversation. And then NBA highlights, Major League Baseball highlights, and who knows what all else. It will all be presented on SportsCenter. And Alan Mills, he got clobbered. 3 hitters, and they all teed off against him. 2 long homers and then a hard single. And now Lee Smith, who threw 30 pitches last night in a difficult 9th inning. And now He's hoping he's going to be able to stop this one, Joe, I guess, quickly.
Well, he will definitely try to get a ground ball here if he can right away off of from Ivan Rodriguez, Ivan Rodriguez. But Lee Smith has also become a very smart stopper. He used to just overpower you with the fastball and the slider. Now he changes speeds a little bit more, and he moves the ball around a little better.
Dick Bosman has worked all spring with him on developing a sinker, which he'll throw a lot. Throws a forkball now, throws a slider. A few other weapons in his arsenal. He's been pitching professionally since 1975. Broke into the big leagues in 1980. He is 36 years of age. And he has had more saves than any relief pitcher in the history of the majors, now with 406. Rodriguez is the possible tying run. He is 2 for 3 with a walk tonight. And Jose Canseco. You remember Canseco and McGuire were the Bash brothers in Oakland. And if they both get it going this year, they'll have to come up with a nickname for the two of them. Gonzalez and Canseco, both capable of hitting 40. That's a strike over the outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Rodriguez argues the call.
There you see the difference in Lee Smith. A lot of times in the past, he'd throw that fastball in the middle of the plate in. Now, he will go the outside edge, then come back inside. He moves the ball around a little bit better now.
Palmeiro playing behind the runner at first. Reach for and foul back to the screen. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Doug Strange is on deck. A switch hitter with some power. There he is. 6-4. And the Rangers with 13 left on in the first 8 innings. And that looms large again now that they've tightened the score. So many chances early in the game. Dean Palmer, the runner at first. Rodriguez hitting .263. Just outside.
Well, you see the trickiness in Lee Smith. He dropped down and threw a sidearm fastball away. He had come from over the top the first 2 pitches.
I imagine we have a lot of folks who were at this game. Maybe just got home and are watching us now.
406 lifetime saves for Lee Smith. All-time Major League record.
It's finally getting good for the Rangers here. Late at night. Struck him out. A foul tip held by Hoyles.
Lee Smith has excellent control of the fastball, and this fastball is right on the outside corner, right out there. Look at nice pitch by Lee Smith with 2 strikes. Rodriguez goes after it, can't catch up with it.
Now Doug Strange. Now he didn't hit a lot of home runs like Gonzalez and Canseco and Palmer and Clark, but he's got some power. 2 home runs for him already. He has a sacrifice fly and has flied out in this ball game tonight. He entered as a pinch hitter in the 5th. 1 out, 1 on. 6-4 Orioles over the Rangers. Base hit. Palmer will hold at second. Now the possible tying runs are aboard. And Gary Reedus has come out of the Ranger dugout. A veteran who's faced Lee Smith, I'm sure, many times over the years.
Well, he faced him in the National League. He was 3 for 6 against Lee Smith.
There he is. Very professional hitter. And Kevin Kennedy thinks really that Reedus is even more valuable to this club just for what he does in the clubhouse.
Yes. He is a veteran and he knows how to play the game. He's been around a while.
Reedus has not faced Lee Smith since 1991. Reedus this year 2 for 6 with a run batted in. And he is 2 for 2 as a pinch hitter. his role here, batting for Manuel Lee. Now, the only left-handed hitter the Rangers have on their bench is Rob Ducey. There's very little big league experience, and this year he is only 2 for 17, so he's going to go with a veteran, Reedus, even though he is a right-handed hitter. 9th inning. Sunday Night Baseball's never-ending story tonight from Arlington. 2 on and only 1 out. 2 runs in. Saved by Orioles. Slider in the dirt. Reedus didn't hit many home runs last year, except against Baltimore pitching. 3 in only 35 at-bats against the Orioles. The Rangers as a team just pounded the Orioles last year. Texas hit 24 home runs against Baltimore in 12 games a year ago. They took 8 out of 12 from Baltimore. Fourth ball. 2-0. 2 men on. There's Palmer at second base. And Strange, the possible tying run over at first base.
Well, Reedus is a good fastball hitter, so Smith has tried to get him with a slider and now a forkball, but the count is now 2-0. He just about has to challenge him here. He does not want to walk the tying run into scoring position.
The pitch, 2-0. Came right after Reedus. Reedus tried to end the game right there.
Yeah, that was a little bit up and out of his zone, a high fastball, and he chases it. Just a little bit up, and Lee Smith still has a live fastball when it's upstairs.
The Orioles bullpen is busy. Just in case Lee Smith runs out of steam here tonight. Remember, 30 pitches thrown last night. A difficult 9th inning. Eichhorn and Pennington up in the pen. Fastball, and that is a foul out of play off to the right.
This is where Lee Smith has really become crafty. This pitch right here. He showed Reedus that he didn't want to throw him a fastball early. Throw him a breaking ball and a forkball. He missed with both. He threw him a fastball for 2-1. He went back with a fastball. Now, in Reedus' mind, he probably thinks, well, he wants to get me out with a breaking ball, so he's probably going to go with a slider or a forkball. Now, the pitch of decision is for Lee Smith is to go with a fastball up and in. See how he attacks Reedus.
Well, he did. Broken back pop-up. Palmero has room. Lee Smith comes back to get Gary Reedus with the power after falling behind him 2-0.
Well, that's just smart pitching there by Lee Smith. But in the hitter's mind, he knew that Lee Smith wanted to get him out with something else. So when Lee Smith gets 2 strikes on him, he comes back with the high fastball, and Reedus can't catch up with it. That's just smart pitching. And as I said, Lee Smith has now become a smarter pitcher, you know, than he was before. Before, he could just throw the ball by you pretty much. But now he's smart, as well as having the good fastball and the good slider and the good forkball.
Now here's David Hulse. Last chance for the Rangers. 2 on, 2 out, 9th inning. The Rangers down by 2, 6-4. Hulse with 2 hits and 5 at-bats. Sabo hugging the foul line at third now and shallow. Palmero guarding the line deep at first. It's a foul off to the left. 0-1. Don't forget, next Sunday night, after the NFL draft, 9 o'clock Eastern. It's the only variation in 5 years of our 8 o'clock Sunday starting time. Next Sunday, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. We'll have the Dodgers and the Expos from Dodger Stadium, Los Angeles. We hope you'll join us. 2 down in the 9th inning. Lee Smith trying to pick up his 6th save in his 6th appearance of the '94 season. Into left field. Ripken moved to his left. And it's a 1-run game. Anderson throws behind the runner at second. Strange is back. 6-5.
I don't know what Ripken was doing. He took a step towards second base, and the ball was hit to his right. He must have been reading the pitch. hit sharply, but actually Ripken made a break the wrong way.
So now a base hit could tie the game. It is a one-run game. All three of the runs in this inning will be charged to Alan Mills. And how much does Lee Smith have left? 36 years old. And he needs to find enough to get one more out after Chris James. Then Will Clark would back. James is the 8th man to bat in the 9th. The Orioles were ahead 6-1 in the 8th. It is 6-5 now. Right center, Hammonds. And the Orioles have defeated the Rangers as the Texas Rangers leave 15 men on base. And it wasn't James in the 9th. It was all of those other opportunities earlier. The Orioles win the series. We'll see you next week in Los Angeles. The final score, the Orioles 6 and the Rangers 5.